Hi everyone, and welcome to week 3 when we're looking at actions in this month on you being more productive. So I want to share with you 5 things that you can do / things that might hold you back from taking action in your life towards your goals. The first one is waiting. There is no time like the present to start taking actions. And I know it sounds corny, but the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. All that sort of stuff is so true. If you want to start reading a book, pick up the book, read the first page. Even if you put it down, you've begun. I picked up a book yesterday, and in it, I was writing notes, as I always do when I read, and I wrote down the bottom, "Josh, I dare you to write the first page of your book." And I wrote next to it the time, because whenever you write down an action or a goal, write the time. And it was something like January 2020, and I was catching a flight to Adelaide. And it said, "I dare you to write the first page on this flight." And I put a little checkbox next to it. I found this a year later, now that there's a 150-page manuscript for this book written, and I realized that that was the first step. I thought about it, should I write something down? When will I wait? When's the right time? Do I know enough? When should I write this book? And then I wrote it, and then on that next flight, I did it. And I went back to that book a year later, and I found it, and I ticked it off. Do not wait. If you want something, start now and start small. Do the smallest possible thing you can do today to move in the direction of your goal. Google gyms in my area. Open the bank account and say, okay, that's what my credit card debt is. That's the reality. You've got to know where you're starting. And then when you know where you are, don't be paralyzed by that fear. Do one little thing to get started. So the first tip is don't wait. The second thing, we talked about this a little bit in week 1, and we looked at you have 168 hours in the week. So I want to challenge you to do is think about not just your next week, but your next month. And where are the little pockets of time that you could schedule in advance to work towards your goals? Are you not that productive from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. on a Thursday? Okay, could you schedule that in to go for a walk, have some creative time, sit at the park and write down ideas? Find pockets in your week where you know you don't have to be somewhere, that you can prioritize for your goals. So the second tip is find time in your calendar, find time in your 168 to make your goals and dreams possible. Third tip, we have to overcome our excuses. There are a million reasons not to do something. And the way I want you to think about excuses are they external or internal? An external excuse is, it's the government, the tax rates, my parents, the teachers, my partner, my business, the whatever. Something outside of your control deserves none of your attention. I'll say that again. Something outside of your control deserves none of your attention. Now you need to be aware of it, but you don't need to dwell on it and think about it. If you're saying you can't do something because of something that you can't influence, that's an external excuse, and that's got to be eliminated. It's not a problem if you can't do anything about it. It's a fact of life, whether we like it or not. The second sort of excuses are internal. These are things, self-talk, limiting beliefs, things we're saying to ourselves which probably aren't even true. I couldn't possibly write that book because I'm not old enough, I'm not experienced enough, I don't have enough credibility. Is that really true? Or could I open a new Word document and write, "A long, long time ago in a land far away"? Anyone can start at any time. And if you're telling yourself a reason internally and then repeating it as to why you can't start, odds are it's not even true. So my challenge with your internal excuses, your reasons for not doing something, is ask yourself, is that even true? Am I sure that's true? Am I 100% confident that's true? And if it is true and you can't change it, it's not a problem, it's a fact of life. And if it's not true and you can change it, what action can you take immediately? So step number 3 is we've got to overcome and move past our excuses. We can't blame the external, and if it's internal, we've got to question if it's even true. Last 2 tips. Tip number 4. Tip number 4 is we've got to overcome the fears. The excuse stops us from starting, but the fear is worried about what's going to happen next. Or even if I wrote this book, what if it was a failure? What would people think of me? What if it was no good? What if it had typos? What if I misattributed a quote to someone who never said it and I seem silly? The fear is always, as Elizabeth Kubler-Ross wrote about in The 5 Stages of Grieving, the fear is always coming down to, I am not enough or I will not be loved. It comes down to, do I feel good enough, which is ego talking, or will I not be loved, which is about our community, our relationships, our environment. And so when you look at fear, when you're thinking I'm stressed about something, you're really fearful about something, ask yourself, is this my ego holding me back? That I don't want to be perceived a certain way? Or is it truly coming down to, I'm worried about how other people will think of me, the people closest to me? And when I think through these two lenses, through the fears, when it comes down to ego, I say that's okay. If I made a mistake, it'll be a learning. I can talk about it one day. And when it comes down to the people closest to me, are they really not going to love me or support me if I make a mistake, if I write a book that's no good? No, we'll probably laugh about it one day. That's always going to be there. The love, the support will always be there. And the ego we need to overcome. So if you have a fear, something holding you back, if I do this, then that. If the that is holding you back, we need to move past it. How do we move past it? Realize that if it's the ego talking, the ego is overcoming, the ego is the way. The obstacle is the way through that. And if it's thinking about the people who are there to support us, bring them in on the conversation. Call your best friend, call your business partner, call the students you work with and say, this is my concern. If I do this, would you support me? Would you have my back? Would you help me out? And if they say yes, rock it ahead. Fifth and final step, celebrate your wins. If you've done all the hard work of taking action, scheduling your time, overcoming excuses, pushing through your fears, the final step is you've got to celebrate the wins, the little ones and the big ones. I would pick a night every week that you can make special. A night every week where if any progress is made whatsoever towards your goals, you celebrate. You order something off Uber Eats, you watch a little bit of Netflix, you go for a nice long walk. Whatever it is for you that makes you feel good, pick a night and make it tonight if you're watching this video to start with. Do one little thing towards today, move past an excuse, overcome a fear, and if you take a single step towards your goal, celebrate it. Because when we get to the end, the big celebration is great, but it's much more fun celebrating all the wins along the way. So they're my 5 tips for you for this third week when we're looking at taking actions. I hope you get a lot out of it, and my encouragement would be do. Even if you're scared, act scared, just take action, and all those actions will start to build up. Have a great week, share in the group what actions you're taking, and I'll speak with you soon.